Alright guys, OPB here coming at you with a quick video. Thank you to all the new subscribers. I noticed I checked again today and the channel's grown more than the 53 I've already thanked, so I think there's 5 more. Thank you. Quick video, just got done with some training. It's been a long day. Put in about a 14-hour day worth of training today. Just going over some new systems that I deal with at work, so it's a little bit of an overload, but hey, here we are. Something that I've been focusing on more is perimeter security. We had a attempted break-in where I live, and I had realized that perimeter security was slacking. Thankfully, nobody was hurt. I was able to ensure that person was seen by the proper authorities. The situation was handled. This was a couple of months ago. So yeah, it's kind of scary. Came home to it, and the missus was home alone, so thankfully I pulled in when I did. I had thought that the window alarms and all that were functional. Slacking on my end, being working so much, didn't check the batteries. The battery was dead. So let's just say, needless to say, immediately after that, they all got replaced. So that being said, perimeter security, perimeter alarms, it can be kind of tricky. Working on a budget, I've had to decide certain things that I need to spend my money on and things that I don't feel like I need to spend my money on. The benefit to the situation that happened is this guy lives the next street over. I do live in a suburban area for right now. Currently in the process of moving. Come on, here, my people. If you don't know that, read your Bible. I'm not going to get too religious on this channel. I personally am religious, but I don't push that on anybody. Just my point of view. Anyways, so given that I'm only going to be there temporarily, and being somebody who hunts, I do have perimeter alarms that I use when I go hunting for bears and such. I set this up on the property to hopefully prevent things like that happening in the future. So moving forwards on the new location where I'll be living, it's more of a rural setting. That being said, I'll have more options, things I can do, more land, better security. Given that it's only going to be 2 of us, there's only so much we can do. So we're going to have to figure shit out. Pardon my language. It really got me thinking as to what can you do on a budget. One thing that I've done is not a plug to Amazon. I really don't like Amazon, but I'm not gonna get into that. They do have very cheap products, cheapest of what I can find. What I've done is temporarily I've bought a whole bunch of solar lights that are motion censored. Yes, they're gonna go off at every single squirrel, but it's also gonna light off should something happen again. It's gonna light off pretty much my backyard, my neighbor's backyard, and the backyard across the street, and half the street itself. These lights are insanely bright. I've already got a complaint asking to take them down, to which I said, read between the lines. You don't like it, tough shit. My house is almost broken into. So yeah, moving forwards, when we move, we'll be taking those with us. And I was thinking, from what Pastor Joe Fox and Bear Independent, Brother Bear, if you're watching this, love you, buddy. Great contact. Keep up the good work. Same with BJ, Pastor Joe Fox. If you're watching this, Viking Preparedness, keep up the good work. Great videos, guys. Both of you have kind of been my inspiration, not only to start prepping, but to do it the right way, and to lead by example, to actually get out there and do, instead of just talk, right? One thing that I've taken is saying that my dad said growing up, and Bear has also said recently, is you don't fall to your level of expectation during chaos, you rise to your level of training, or vice versa. Sorry, tired. So that being said, get out there and do the things. A YouTube video is not gonna help you. It can inform you. It's not gonna help. It's not gonna teach you anything. It can inform you, but until you actually get out there and do, put those tangible things in your hands and actually get out there and do the things. Get out there and hike with your rucksack on for 15, 20, 40 kilometers if you can make it that far. Okay? Yeah, trust me, after about 15K, you're freaking hating life. Especially if you are traveling across some adverse terrain. Recently, right before the season closed, I did a solo bug out training, I guess you could say, in Algonquin Provincial Park. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Canada at all, but I believe it's the oldest and biggest park in Canada, provincial park. They used to do a lot of logging and stuff like that in there. Pretty cool. You can see some of the old saw blades and all that along the shores and all that too. There's a lot of wood jams that are still there from when they used to float the logs down. The log drivers. If you're Canadian, you definitely know a song called the Log Drivers Waltz. It's kind of a Canadian thing. I don't know if you guys did that down there in the States or not, but leave it to a bunch of drunken Canadians to be dancing on logs, floating them down the river, right? Anyways, so going back to perimeter security, as I said, I did a bug out training thing in Algonquin. I'm going to touch on that in another video, but it goes back to the get out there and do. You can watch all the videos on perimeter security. You can take all the classes, you can do everything until you actually continue training and putting that into practice. It's really not going to be any use for you. Again, as I said, the attempted break-in, luckily that guy was just thinking that it was his house, and he was 3 sheets to the wind. Like, he was out of there. Good night, nurse. Like, I'm surprised the guy could walk straight. The guy smelled like a minibar. Okay, he was drunk. It's a college area, so. Anyways, houses are pretty much identical. I can understand why. I didn't get physical with the guy. I kind of assumed that as soon as he was drunk that he thought it was his house. Growing up where I grew up, it happened fairly frequently to my buddy. To live in a duplex next to our neighbor, always used to think it was his house. Again, college area. So, buddy comes home drunk. Open the door, whatever. Well, your house is over there, buddy. And I just called the cops, got him to take him back home. Dealt with the situation. Kind of got him to sit down and chill out so he didn't spew all over my driveway. That would have been a nice mess. anyways, so perimeter alarms, maybe in that circumstance, had I had an audible perimeter alarm, even a beep or a ding or a security camera where you can speak into a microphone. For example, on your phone, there's lots of alarm companies and alarm systems that you can install yourself or have monitored. And SHTF, you know, that monitoring system might be down. So I would recommend actually investing in one where you can monitor it yourself. It'll send you alerts to your phone, or to a TV in the house where people normally are. If somebody's home all day, then maybe have it in a small TV in the kitchen or what have you. Whereas if something trips that alarm that's not normally supposed to be tripping that alarm, at awkward times of the day it pops up on the screen or sends you a notification on your phone with a link so you can interface into it. There's plenty of technology out there that'll let you do that. So that's something that's going to be put into the new house. Perimeter alarm, gates across driveways, and fences. Obviously, gate's no good if there's no fence, and vice versa. Fence is no good if there's no gate. Gates should live closed at all points in time, so it's not a visual indicator of when you're home, when you're not home. Because if you're home and the gate's open all the time, then people know, hey, they're not home when the gate's closed. So if you're home and the gate's closed, if you're out, the gate's closed, your car's parked in the driveway or in the garage. If they're parked in the driveway, it's again more of a visual thing, but at least park them in the garage overnight. During the day it's fine, but it's personal preference. I believe cars should be in the garage. Driving a truck, it's kind of hard to find a house that'll fit truck in the garage where I live, but it's an older area, so that the garages are actually fairly small. They're actually overgrown storage sheds, as I like to call them. They would not fit anything if you're lucky, especially the old cars. Like, I don't know how the heck they managed to fit cars in there. Like an old Cadillac, there's no way that thing would have fit in the garage where I live right currently. There's no way. Not happening. Thing's the size of a football field. Right? So again, visual cues such as gates being left open, cars out in the driveway, just simple things like that. Lighting, the more lighting the better, I find. But you also got to place these items, these levels, in the proper area, right? You don't fight over from your mailbox. Okay, you have to be able to project it outwards. What I'm thinking, potentially, if anyone has, again, I'm new to this. I'm learning at the same point in time. I've installed a few things like this at my grandparents' property, on the farm. So on outbuildings on all the corners, you have motion sensor lights. Maybe even halfway down the building, you have a larger span of like a floodlight, and then kind of spotlights on each corner. Perimeter alarms, trail cams in spots of the woods, not only for hunting, but we had an issue with poachers that were coming on the back of the property. Hunting cameras actually aided us in confronting them, and they haven't been back since. I'm just going to leave it at that. Yes, things like that happen here. We're not all sorry, eh? Right? We don't all live in igloos. Okay? But you know, people here are still assholes. They'll still try to take your stuff. They'll still try to sneak onto your property. They're still assholes, right? We're not all nice. Okay, that's a very misunderstood thing. Okay, honestly, sorry, I'm getting a little bit sidetracked here, but the nicest we can get, in all honesty, is not saying anything when people from a certain province, Quebec, come into your province and decide to drive under the speed limit in the hammer lane, in the fast lane, uh, and think that's okay. What's up, Quebec? Then you get all mad when we come there and do the same thing. It's like payback. Come on, guys. Anyways, not Reg me if you're watching that. A little dig to you, buddy. It's alright. Can't all be perfect like Ontario, right? Anyways, again, if you haven't checked out that guy's channel, Professional Canadian Beaver Walker, go check that out. Great content. The guy's funny as hell. Yeah, he's a good guy. I've talked with him a few times. He's a really good guy. Actually, I would like to do a video collab with him in the future. Coming from a younger generation and older generation point of view on things, I think it could be kind of interesting. So if you end up seeing this, buddy, again, I'd love to do a video collab with you talking about that. Kind of younger versus older perspective on certain things. But again, sidetracked. So again, as I said, lighting, strategically place this, corners of buildings, big frontages of land. What we've done on my grandmother's property, actually, was my idea, and it's worked pretty good, is we have a trail cam wrapped around 4x4 post on the bottom, and on top we have motion sensored light in areas where we know there's no game, but the trail cam records, and my grandfather walks out there all the time. He likes seeing what kind of animals are on the property and stuff like that, right? There, he's retired, he's got nothing better to do. So he goes, checks that out, and 4x4 post, trail cam, up top, solar light, spotlight. So when something comes on, and then you can see in the trail cam you can also do night mode. So if he wants it on night mode, he just walks over and flicks off the solar light, so it doesn't come on at all. Pretty cool. The whole setup, I think, for each one was like $200 each. This is pre-COVID, so I don't know what that would be now, but you're probably paying a pretty penny for that now. They've been outside now for 6 or 7 years, and they're still holding up pretty good, so it's worth it. If I can remember to, next time I'm there, to check the brand on it, I'll make a video on it. But again, chances of me remembering that, not very good. So yeah, that's an alternative, or even maybe 4x4 post with just the light on it, or finding an older tree and putting the trail cam around it, using trail cam as trail cam. Another thing, if you want to funnel people and maybe post SHTF hunters and all that, if you have a big piece of property going on there, having things such as decoy trail cams with a trail cam watching that trail cam, or maybe a security camera watching that trail cam to see who's going to be coming on your property, and looking at things, scoping things out, might be a good idea. Again, this is all dependent on electronics not going down. Is it a possibility? Yes. Do I think during civil unrest that it's going to be a huge issue with the power going down? It could, but if you have enough solar panels to keep shit charged, and wind turbines, and generators, and enough fuel for those generators, etc., 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 you should be all right. I'll probably get into on another video what I foresee that's going to happen. My most plausible course of action that I think we're heading towards, this actually might be my next video. Yeah, I'll do that as my next video. I don't know. I think short term, yes, everything will go down, but within a couple of months, I think it'll be back, if that makes sense. It'll be sporadic, but it'll be back. In the rural areas, it might not come back ever, but we'll see. I'll leave that for another video, for another time. Another big thing that I foresee as being an issue when it comes to security is people. okay? In two aspects. One, you not having enough people to pull security, and people behaving badly, as Pastor Joe likes to say. Where I live right now, it's not ideal, but I'm doing the best of what I got where I'm at. We are in the process of coming out here, my people, getting the hell out of the city. I'm not super in the city, but I'm not as far away from the city as I'd like to be. My work kind of dictates how far I need to be for the short term. I'm a young guy. I haven't really got a lot of life savings to be able to build a business quite yet. That is something which is part of the reason why I'm here doing this course, so I can have my own company and make my own time. Where we are moving, the trade I'm in, both trades I'm in, will be huge. I can make a good living doing it. Hopefully, moving forwards, I'll be able to, or at least supplement it so I don't have to go to work all the time in the city, and I can actually focus on doing my own thing. Whether that's my company, YouTube, custom made gear, collaborations with people, things like that. That's where I would like to see this go. Potentially, hopefully, one day, full switch onto this, making a living doing this, maybe even teaching courses on my property or on certain properties, consulting, stuff like that. That's where I would like to see this go. Kind of my view for the channel. But again, a huge diversion from where this video started. Sometimes I just go where my brain, where it feels I should be going, right? So that's pretty much that. As I was talking about perimeter security, two things that I foresee as being a big issue with people is not having enough and people behaving poorly. Now, I'm a firm believer in outbuildings. It's a pioneer thing. They can be storage sheds now. I don't know about you, where you live. Consult your local bylaws and all that about this. But here you can have 10 by 10 structures, 100 square feet, with no permit. So you don't need a permit to build it. It doesn't matter. They can't say anything about it. 10 by 10, 100 square feet. Now the minimum dwelling, if I can remember correctly, where you can live full time, has to be, I think it's 340, 360 square feet. Somewhere close to that is the minimum size dwelling. Well, there's rule of law. Okay. So going back to that, if you have, say, 5 acres, take an acre of that, 10 by 10 sheds, and you get a barracks. Okay. You can use the main house for things such as cooking, cleaning, headquarters, storage. You and your family, your immediate group, use those 10 by 10 sheds as outbuildings for people that are going to come. Okay. This might get a little bit religious. If you don't like that, click away now. If it doesn't matter to you, continue watching. The Father is going to bring people to you who you need to take care of. That's just my firm believing. It's going to happen. Not to say that you're in charge of everybody's well-being, but sometimes trials and tribulations are put onto you without you knowing or wanting of them. That being said, 10 by 10 sheds are going to be an asset. You can put workbenches on one side of them that are big enough to work on, or lay a cot-sized mattress on, which is what I'm planning on doing. And on the other side, you can have, it's easy enough to fold up 2 or 3 cots inside of a size probably 3 feet wide by 6 feet long, 6-7 feet long, however long the cot is you're using. Fold them up in their bags, well, depending on what size cot you use, and you can store them in there. Store them right in the rafters. They're out of the way. No one's gonna know any better. Within each one, you can maybe put a month's worth of food for the occupants and a small wood stove. You can have that hole pre-drilled right on the roof. If needs be, you can fire that thing up and get each one going as a little house. You can have one as a workshop, one as a medical center. Now you're not going to be doing any serious medical things in 100 square feet, but it's good to get casualties out of there. Sick bay, medical storage, etc., etc. Even if you want to upsize and get some permits, you can even say there's storage sheds and do a 10 by 20, 200 square feet. You can have a mess hall, a barracks with bunk beds. You name it. It all depends how much money you want to sink into it, and what you feel compelled in. Coming from a big family, where we're moving is about, it's like 8.5 acres, roughly. That will 8.5, 10 acres, and it's surrounded by crown land. So basically public land. So post SHTF, it's, anyways, I'm not going to say anything about that. But yeah, I come from a big family. I know that people are going to where I'm at. It's about, again, as I said before, it's about a 6-hour get home to where my family currently is. That's where my grandparents, my parents, my sister, a couple other cousins and all that stuff are. Having those conversations with them that, listen, I'm gonna be 6 hours away should something happen. That's in good time with a car. That could be a couple of weeks, could be a month, could be 2 months away. They can't rely on my help. That being said, that they are more than capable of taking care of themselves. As I said, the farm, that's enough said there. They'll be all right. That being said, having spider networks, which is another thing I'm going to go into along the way, of friends, cousins, groups of people, networks, it's huge to be good with networking. One skill that I picked up for being in the car community was just networking. Just see a guy with a cool car, go up there and talk to him. Who knows, that guy might be an armor gunsmith. I met one guy who's a blacksmith. Okay, how cool is that? The guy's got a 61? Anyways, it's 1960 something Chevelle. He's freaking blacksmith. You know how cool that was? I was talking about the gas pumps. Oh, nice car, man. Blah 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 blah. He's like, yeah, come on. Let's see. I'm a blacksmith. I was like, I asked him, how the hell did you afford that thing? He's like 120K, right? His numbers matching. He's like, oh, I'm a blacksmith. I was like, oh, you're an actual blacksmith. I was like, where's your workshop? He's like, oh, just up the street. I was like, mind if I come see it? Right? And you build those things. I've got him actually building a few things. This is the guy that I'm talking to with making the custom knives. I'm going to be working with him and see what he can do for me there. So, again, networking. Being able to do that, go up to people, just strike up a conversation. You overhear them in the grocery store and be like, oh yeah, I went fishing with so-and-so and caught this, I use this lure. It happens all the time here. I don't know about where especially at my work. Everyone talks about fishing, hunting, sports and all that all the time, cars and shit. So it's easy. It's kind of gets ingrained in you. For example, at the gas station, fueling up a truck the other day, and the guy pulls up next to me in a 54 Ford Fairlane. I was looking at that car, and the window was down in the truck, and I could hear the missus going, "Don't you dare go over there and talk to him about that car." Right? In the back of my mind, I'm like, yep, I'm going over there to talk to him about that car. It's like, I want to leave here today. Don't talk to him about that car. Well, half an hour later, we ended up leaving from getting gas. Anyways, that guy was just a cool guy who liked cars. So, things like that. If you can find people with common interests, especially in the car community, you'd be surprised who's into cars. I said locksmith, there's doctors, nurses, EMS, police, all kinds of people that are into cars that you can learn from, that are good people. Right? It's a community. It's just personally, cars might not be your thing. Okay, if it's your local knitting committee, well, go out and do that. Do whatever. Go to where you feel comfortable and you know your thing. Right? Talk to those people. Now you might find a bunch of people who don't know anything. Ooh, but they're still people. You're still getting that skill of interfacing with them. Right? You're talking to them. You're building your skills. And I get this video's come along right hook there from what it initially was meant to be, but it's just kind of things that have gone all over the place. Now my videos normally, as you can tell if you've watched any of the other ones, turn into a ramble. So I kind of just take the little bits there and use what you can. I'm going to try to make it more structured in the future. I apologize. Well, this video is going on now 32 minutes, and I think I've touched on a very little bit of what I wanted to talk about. So stay tuned for security and the prepper things part 2.